How much money I was able to make on Fiverr in 2023. And this is one of those videos where, of course, I wasn't confident and comfortable sharing before, but I realized that a lot of people are doing this with their YouTube journey, with their SMMA journey, with other things, and eventually when you're transparent, I think that's always the best. And at the same time, money, income, financial side, it could inspire others, because when I was getting started myself, I was also looking, I was like, okay, this seller has 50 orders in queue on Fiverr, how much he could be potentially making, because I'll be like, oh, this is a lot of money, like $2,000, $1,000, that's a crazy amount of money that you can be making online, right? So I think this is very useful, and for other people who are trying to also get started, who are trying to see the potential from Fiverr, let's say, because that's where my main focus is, I think this will be very inspiring. So first of all, I'm gonna go, and as you guys know, I've been sharing a lot about Fiverr, about the journey. So if you're coming here for the first time, feel free to check out my other videos. I'm also gonna be sharing more about the social media marketing space and how you can make money, but primarily focus is on Fiverr. So let's get right into it. So I've been a seller on Fiverr since 2015, 16. I would say in 2017 I started actively selling, and of course my journey has been up and down as well. Right now this year we are actually, let's take a look at the numbers. So first, we're looking at the last 30 days. We see over 30K in the last 30 days, which is honestly a crazy amount of money that you can be making on Fiverr. It is possible. Just for example, at the time I'm recording this video, which is September 19, we've been able to get over 12 new orders just in this day. Probably this could be increasing. Yesterday, the other day, the previous day, the same, right? So yeah, I mean, the Fiverr journey could be definitely rewarding. I think at the end of the day, you need to look at, you can be focusing on multiple things, right? You can be running your agency directly, you can be outreaching, you can be doing a bunch of things, right? But at the end of the day, you need to look at what will bring you the most outcome, and you cannot really dedicate your time into everything. You need to really pick eventually one basket and really put all of your focus there in order to really build it, right? It doesn't make sense when you have, like, let's say 5, 6 different things that you're doing, different baskets, and you're trying to put your time, because we're limited. I honestly don't know, like, for example, for me, Fiverr takes, of course, a lot of work, right? Besides Fiverr, I do have other projects that I'm building, but usually it takes extremely slow, because my main time going on Fiverr to maintain that, and of course, because of that, I'm not able to fully focus on other things. Okay, so let's go straight right into it. So we have 2023, so far we have $166,000 made on Fiverr, right? So we are still in a little bit over middle of September, right? So it's still obviously going to be hopefully increasing by the end of the year, but this is how the numbers are looking so far. So just to look at the previous year was completely different, right? So it's been a challenging year, because of course when you're offering, let's say Instagram marketing services or any other services that relates to the social media, and you have to be reliant on social media, of course things could be changing a lot, right? So for example, last year I was under $150,000 just over the course of the year. This year we are already over 166, so this number has definitely been increasing. And let's say if we're looking like this, probably this year could be just over $200,000 could be made on Fiverr. Of course, if something will not change, right? Because things could be changing there. So this is just an overview, and I wanted to also just briefly share, because I think for others, if you're looking at these numbers and like, wow, this is crazy, but you have been seller on Fiverr for like many years, etc., I would agree with you, right? Yes, it obviously, with the reputation I have, with the amount of reviews, it does help, but it's not a crazy impact. I wouldn't say that's the key, because for example, looking at 2020, you can see I was not selling on Fiverr. I took a whole year completely off and not been doing anything on Fiverr. Just, I think it was like one order I took, big order, and that's pretty much it. There was like a smaller order here, so it was nothing, right? I lost all my levels. I was starting from zero, and then 2021, it was still over $100,000 a year, and as you can see here, I started from zero, like $160 in January, and then it started to go up, right? So from 160 to 6,000. Yes, I had some previous buyers. I was able to re-engage some of them, right? But eventually here I was not really reaching out to the buyers, I just did it once, and then eventually you can see that Fiverr started to pick up my gigs, right? So of course I've seen people starting on Fiverr from zero, and they could be making over $100,000 a year. This is possible. This is not magic. This is not scam or anything like that, right? So it is definitely possible. You need to look at your service. I think the key here is not really about starting from zero or not starting from zero, right? The key here is, first of all, you need to really put a lot of time, effort into building your gigs. And second, you need to have a service which will have a demand, the service that will have a demand, the service that will eventually be needed for your clients, right? Because for example, if you're offering service that is a one-time service that is just, for example, researching something, or like doing some smaller, lower ticket orders, it's very hard to maintain. I know cases, I know people, sellers who've been doing extremely well on Fiverr, over 10K per month, over 12K per month, and then suddenly they go down to 2, 3, 4K. The reason why they're really dependent on the traffic from Fiverr, and then once they start to lose this new traffic, they are just basically dying out, right? And in order for them to maintain, you need to really work on the services that could be recurring, services that could be high ticket as well. You need to understand, if you're offering one-time service, like for example website design, which is usually a one-time service, the reason why people are making so much money on Fiverr with the website design, because it's a high ticket, right? They will charge 1K, 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K and more, right? Or it could be even like a few $100, $500 a starting price. So of course it gives you, sort of like a big chunk of, money could be arriving straight away. The other things is you can be offering lower ticket services, but with the lower ticket services, you need to do recurring services. You need to be able to build those relationships with the buyers so that eventually you can be charging them again and again and again. And now Fiverr has this subscription option, which is a really great, because you can send your subscription offer and the client could accept it, and they will be charging every single month unless their card gets declined or they change their payment method, right? But it will be a recurring sustainable income, right? Revenue for you. So again, these numbers, it's not a magic. For example, going back into for example, you can see here, last month, August, I've been able to complete 214 orders, right? If I go back into 2000, let's say 17, so for the same amount of revenue, like let's say here, you can see 549 versus right now we are at 214, right? So it's also pretty crazy, because of course I was charging lower prices. And I had to complete over 500 orders in that month to be able to earn the same amount as I earned just last August, right? And in last August I had only 214 orders, which is still a lot. Of course, it's a lot of clients, a lot of work, but it's not 500, right? So, and I remember my expenses when I was running my agency, for example, let's go back into those crazy years where the income was at above 50K, right? It was very consistent, 55, 56, right? And I remember, I had a crazy operations. I had over, close to like 20 people working. It was actually a bit less, but still, it was a very large number of people, partners, we had the team, multiple countries, offices, right? We had like 4 offices and everything. So it was a crazy operation. And I realized that, okay, it's a nice experience. It's nice when you're trying to build a company, we're trying to build, sort of like a culture, company culture, startup culture. But of course, if you are dependent on the service that could just go down in like one day, let's say 1 week, right? It's not sustainable and it's complete disaster. So I learned my mistakes. Right now, of course, my service could still change. Instagram could be doing a bunch of different things, but I'm a bit more flexible because right now I would say the expenses are a bit more optimized, and I'm not only offering that Instagram. We also have a content creation, content marketing, which I think is a great service for everyone who is looking to get started, because first of all, it could be a high ticket, let's say $500, $600 per month service, and second, it's a recurring service. So the clients will be needing you more content, and for the content, you can honestly do this using like Canva, for example. You can create those static images, you can create valuable education images, right? You you can add some infographics. I mean, it's not a very complex work. At the end of the day, you need to pick something one that you're focusing, because there is a lot of distractions. There's people saying, oh, you can start drop shipping, you can start Amazon FBA, right? Fulfillment by Amazon, your store, you can start your SMMA, you can be charging clients, you can do your courses, you can start your online course. There's just a lot of things going on. I think for me, at the end of the day, I can just tell from my experience what I like. First of all, I do like the fact I'm on platform like Fiverr, because it's a competition, right? You always try to do better. You look in the stats, you're looking how many orders you got today. Let's improve the numbers, blah, blah. Yes, they take 20%, but I would say if in today's world, you either need to be spending money to be able to get clients, or you need to be able to be on the platforms like this, right? I hear some people say like Fiverr, there could be weird people ordering, right? I mean, it all depends how you structure your profile. It all depends how you communicate. It all depends how you position yourself. I would say I'm not the cheapest one who are doing. I mean, I'm definitely in the more expensive bracket, but I learned my lessons that I think eventually when you are pricing yourself maybe higher than the industry, let's say on Fiverr, it's not a bad thing, right? But you need to be able to showcase yourself. You need to be able to look professional, right? You need to be able to do excellent work as well, communication. I mean, you need to be living this. I wouldn't say like when I'm running this business now on Fiverr, I mean, it's an everyday hustle. It's not like I'm just waking up and I can do whatever I want. Technically, yes, I can do whatever I want, but I'm gonna have consequences, right? Where I can get a bad review, I can miss something, the client will not be happy, the client will be waiting for long for my work, right? So, of course, you know, I need to be all in. I need to be 24/7, I need to be there. But that's your choice, again, right? So you don't need to do that. You can get a normal job and you can be working and you can just be, you know, I don't know, happy, getting monthly salary, and that's it, right? But I think if you're trying to do something different, if you're trying to do something, you know, that could be not standard and that could give you freedom, that could give you support, that could give your family support, your loved ones, blah, 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 your financial goals. So I think this is definitely worth it, right? And Fiverr has been changing a lot. Right now, they have been doing many things, updating. So of course, when you're just getting started, it's going to be always hard, no matter where you start. But at the end of the day, if you stay consistent, you will see a great results and you will see great outcome. So guys, this is how I'm doing so far this year. I want to be transparent. I think this could inspire others. This just could show my journey. You know, for you can be learning from that. You can be maybe, I'm sure there's a lot of sellers who are doing much better than I am. I'm not the one who are, you know, let's say doing the most on Fiverr. There are people who are doing 50K, 60K, 100K, right? I mean, I'm sure that is possible, right? Of course, you know, different services, different niches, but in the social media marketing space, I think, you know, even building like a 10K business per month, it's definitely possible. It's not something, it's impossible. And when you compare Fiverr versus doing on your own, yes, it might take a little bit more on Fiverr, but at the end of the day, you have to think outside of the box. And even when you reach out to clients, you can be bringing them to Fiverr. You can be like, hey, here's my link to Fiverr, feel free to place an order. Because what's great with Fiverr is that you can be getting messages every single day from new people that you never met before, that you didn't run any ads and you didn't spend time outreaching to them. Because now when I open my mailbox, I always see quick question, we see you're this, I see you're in New York, I see you're there, like blah, 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 right? So there's a lot of spam that's coming every single day. And of course, you need to look at like 5 years ago, there was not maybe much spam, right? Right now, everyone is doing, because there's a lot of experts in the SMMA, in the marketing space, who are teaching you like, you need to go and reach out to 100 businesses per day, right? And of course, you're gonna have consequences where the demand, you know, is just going crazy up. So that's the situation, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate the time. Feel free to check out my newsletter as well. I'm more transparent there. So if you don't see a lot of publications now, I'm working actively on getting pushed the newsletter. So I think that's going to be useful, because I'm more comfortable sharing my thoughts, my tips, my strategies in that format. And of course, my Instagram, it depends. Sometimes I like to share my journey and document it a little bit. Sometimes I'm a bit more quiet. So anyways, thank you so much for support, and see you in the next video.